Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Ignite SAT Mastery course. Today we'll be covering Lesson 8 of Module 4, Solving for Variables questions. Now, just as a refresher, what are these solving for variables questions? Now, they're going to look a little something like these. Now, as you can see in both of these questions, they have something very specific and unique to them. They have equations, could be rational, could be normal, could be quadratic, could be any kind of equation that is expressed solely in variables and constants where no numbers are used. These questions are there to test your knowledge on rearranging variables, equations, and solving for specific variables. As you can see, these questions are both going to respond to the words in terms of. So it's going to say to express one variable in terms of the other variables. Now that you know what these questions look like, let's try one of them. Alright, now we have this question. It's asking which of the following expresses the square of the distance from the radio antenna in terms of the intensity of the radio signal and the power of the signal. So what do we have to look at? Well, first, the equation above is what we need to rearrange. We need to rearrange I equals P over 4 pi squared such that everything is expressed in terms of R squared. So we know that R is the radio antenna. So we can manipulate this equation into a equivalent expression that gets our same answer. So this is what we have originally. The first thing we're going to do is multiply R squared to the other side because we want R squared to be isolated, and having it at the bottom will not help. The next thing we'll do is actually divide the I over. And do you notice something? We already have our simplified equation in terms of R squared. This correlates directly with answer choice B. Now, after we went through that problem, I think it's time for you guys to go through a problem of your own. So try this problem. Now that you've had a chance to look at this problem, let's go over it. A website uses the formula above to calculate a seller's rating R based on the number of favorable reviews F and unfavorable reviews N. Which of the following expresses the number of favorable reviews in terms of the other variables? Notice how I highlighted favorable reviews, such as the variable F. Now we need to get F by itself, so let's find a way to isolate this. We have this equation, R equals F over N plus F. Let's figure out a way that we can get F by itself. First, we need to get the F from the bottom by itself. We need to isolate that away from the N and make sure it's variable on its own. So let's multiply each side by N plus F. So we result in this. Let's do a little bit of distribution and we get Rn plus Rf equals F. So let's get all the F terms on the same side. We have Rn equals F minus Rf. And if we notice something, we can actually factor out a term. We can factor out a 1 minus r from the f on the right. As you can see, you could multiply f times 1 to get f, and f minus r times minus r to get minus rf, and you will have the same thing. Now that we have that, we can get f by itself. If we divide away, we can get Rn over 1 minus r equals f. And as you can see, that correlates exactly with answer choice B. Now, a few tips. The first thing to do is determine which variable you want to isolate. This comes very crucially. The next thing you want to do is start rearranging the variables using, the operations of PEMDAS, trying to get common variables together and factor certain terms out just so you can have a variable isolated. The last thing you want to do is isolate this variable. And once you have this isolation, you should be able to verify that the solution you get is a solution correlated within the answers of that question. Next time, we're going to look at advanced factoring questions and techniques on how to solve these on the SAT math section.